Hello and welcome to Monday's Nuts Today with me, Emma Calder. It is Christmas Eve, and here's what we've got in store for you today. First, and Nottingham Forest has opened up the city ground to offer a home from home for people lonely this Christmas.
I think it's a really good idea, I really do, because I live on my own now. I lost my husband 10 years ago, and I just love Nottingham Forest, and I can't believe where they've got to now.
We'll have more on that shortly, plus we'll be hearing about financial concerns from rough sleeping charity Framework. The organisation expects to cut jobs and support after the recent government budget added more than £1.8 million to its budgets. We're also going to be hearing from another vital charity about their outreach work and a festive fundraising appeal. That's Jericho Road, which helps vulnerable women out of the sex industry, and we'll be hearing how you can help their work later on in the show. And as we're just a few days away from Christmas Day, we've been down to Winter Wonderland to see how business has been for traders this year.
We have had a great year, always successful here at Nottingham. I'm feeling very Christmassy, because we have all the Christmas music playing all day, which is great. People are in a good mood, especially as we're nearing Christmas now.
Plus, in sports, we'll be hearing from Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo after a big away win in Brentford kept them in the top 4 at Christmas.
The boys really worked very hard today. I don't know the metrics, but just by seeing them and how they finished the game, throwing themselves in the ground, shows that this is what it's all about.
All that and loads more coming up just for you. But first, and homelessness is something we see in our streets every day in and day out. And various organisations right here in Nottingham provide vital support for people sleeping rough. One of them is Framework, a housing association which provides accommodation and conducts daily outreach visits to people on the streets. But the organisation says it faces cutting jobs and some of the support it's able to offer after the recent government budget added £1.8 million to its annual costs. Our local democracy reporter Joe Locker has been following this story and joins us in just a moment. But before we speak to Joe, here's Framework's Chief Executive Andrew Redfern.
In the budget with the employers' national insurance shock, and it was a shock, we certainly weren't expecting it, which straight away plunges us into a deficit situation which we can't sustain. So we have to find some ways to correct that. We're having to remove some of the add-ons that we provide, so specialist workers, people like life skills trainers, clinical psychologists who work with people who sort of experienced trauma, specialist social workers who are attached to our Rough Sleepers outreach team. Some of those kind of roles that add value to what local authorities commission. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to sustain those.
And our local democracy reporter Joe Locker joins us now. Thanks for joining us, Joe. So what is the homelessness situation at the moment?
Yeah, so it's been getting worse, over the years, because we've had austerity for over a decade, and we've had, the cost of living crisis, the pandemic, as Mr. Redfern, who was just on, has said to me. So the sort of snapshot currently is that there's 739 different people found over the past year sleeping rough on Nottingham streets, and that's just the city, with around about over 50 people every single night that are found by Framework's street outreach team. And obviously rough sleeping is only the visible side of homelessness. You have, people in temporary accommodation as well. And households in temporary accommodation has increased as well by 122% from... So back in 2020, there was 349 people in temporary accommodation, or households, should I say. That's risen to 776 as of April this year. So a significant rise in both people sleeping rough and people not having a house of their own to call home.
I mean, these figures are really, really high. So you spoke to Andrew Redfern, the Chief Executive of Framework. He said Labour's budget has only made it harder to tackle homelessness. How so?
Yeah, so Framework was, before the budget, which was announced by Chancellor Rachel Reeves at the end of October, before the budget they were expecting a slight surplus, which is positive for a charity that relies on donations, fundraising, that sort of thing. But after the budget announced in October, Andrew says it plunged us into this deficit. So from an operating surplus straight into a deficit. That, he says, that money has got to be found from somewhere. And Mr. Redfern tells me, they're going to have to potentially cut 25 full-time or equivalent job roles. Gosh. So a significant amount of people.
So what is it that Framework want to see from the government? Yeah,
so, I mean, it's basically... Mr. Redfern was saying about there was a Supporting People programme many years ago that was set up under the Labour government back then. And it was a £1.7 billion scheme, which he says almost eradicated homelessness as we know it today. He says it was cut through austerity measures after 2010, and he's been making representations to both the former Conservative government and the new Labour government to say, look, we need this or something like this back to bring these levels down and provide not only housing but for support for people in those homes as well. So that could be mental health support, support for substance misuse, all the things that contribute to people not being able to sustain a home, basically.
And what are the government saying about this?
Yeah, so the department says, the government inherited devastating levels of homelessness, but it says its total spend has reached almost £1 billion in 2025-26, and it's also funding 5,000 new social homes. But and Mr. Redfern says, they're providing this funding, but at the same time, they've been lumped with these costs from national insurance and the rise in the living wage as well. So it's a difficult time.
It really is a difficult time, and I'm sure we'll see and hear more from you in 2025 about this. But for the moment, Joe Lockett, our local democracy reporter, thank you very much. Right, later on, we are going to be chatting all things football with your sports roundup. But first, we're focusing on Forest for something slightly more festive first. And that is because the club opened up the City Ground to fans as part of a Christmas cake and coffee event. And that gave fans of all ages the chance to get merry with mince pies and meet club legends like Gary Birtles too. It was all to say thanks to fans for yet another strong year on the pitch. Plus, it was a chance to help any fans who may be facing loneliness at Christmas. And just as a warning, Jack Sims' report does contain some flash photography.
From making passes to passing out mince pies, the City Ground became the home of festive cheer as Nottingham Forest celebrated Christmas in the community. The club opened their doors to fans for some festive food, drinks and famous friendly faces. It was the European suite where fans of all ages came in, offering warm drinks and warmer smiles, and all to tackle loneliness at Christmas. For two-time European Cup winner Gary Birtles, isolation and loneliness at Christmas are feelings he's familiar with after the loss of his wife in 2021. Now he's giving back to the club and the community who helped him through it.
Football gave me that mental strength to help me through that period, but it was absolutely awful, seeing the person you love just passing away in front of you and then having to cope afterwards. And I realise what people are going through in that situation or any situation of loneliness. It's horrible. It can affect people in totally different ways, and to be part of this and be part of Nottingham Forest, be involved with these sort of problems it's an honour, really. It's an honour and a privilege.
The event was just one of many that have been held by the club as a part of their Home for Christmas charity campaign. And for lifelong fans such as Susan Clinch, the chance to meet some of her favourite former players has been a dream come true.
Absolutely amazing. I'm loving every minute. I'm a massive fan from the age of 10 years old when I first saw a cup match in black and white. I think it's a really good idea, I really do. Because I live on my own now. I lost my husband 10 years ago. And I just love Nottingham Forest, and I can't believe where they've got to now. I never thought this had happened, never.
For others, it's been a great opportunity for younger fans to come and see some of the faces that have helped pave the club's legacy.
I think it's brilliant. It's bringing the community together. A lot of players have turned up, old players. I think it's really good and inspirational for this young lad here, my grandson, because he's such a big fan.
I've already met some old players and managers, and I think it's going to be a really fun time.
Although Forest will be hoping to lift themselves into Europe next season, For now, lifting the spirits of fans at Christmas is a win worth every effort. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
What a great looking event and a very colour coordinated Christmas tree as well for Forest. Right, let's have a look at some more of your news headlines now first. And police have launched a CCTV appeal after a serious sexual assault in a Nottingham park. The incident happened in Victoria Park off Bath Street in Sneinton at about 3 o'clock on Saturday morning, December the 21st. Specially trained officers are supporting the victim and has now released a CCTV image as part of their investigations. They say the man, who you will see pictured in just a few moments, could have important information about what happened and have said anyone who can help should get in touch by calling 101. Next, and police have said they found a sophisticated cannabis plantation when they raided a house in West Bridgford. About 177 plants were found inside the property on Dale Close when police conducted a warrant last Thursday morning. Officers say 3 upstairs bedrooms and a loft had been turned into a substantial growing area, whilst the property's electrical supply had been bypassed too. The force say anyone who's got any more information about the cannabis grow can get in touch on 101. Right, let's take a short break now, but don't go anywhere. Get yourself a cuppa and we'll see you in just a few minutes because we are heading to Winter Wonderland to see how trade has been this year. And we've got our bumper sports for you after a winning weekend for all of our football clubs. Hello, welcome back to Monday's Notts Today with me, Emma Calder. Thank you for joining us. Happy New Year, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. We're not there yet. Here are some more of your news headlines first. And a 91-year-old woman is amongst some Nottingham patients spending Christmas at home as part of a hospital discharge drive. Staff at Nottingham's QMC and the City Hospital have been working with families of patients to increase discharges in the run-up to Christmas, meaning more people can spend time with their loved ones over the festive season. And that includes great-grandmother of 10, Betty Hunt, who was admitted to the QMC last week with a broken wrist, but who's now at home thanks to the support of nurses. Next, concerns have been voiced about whether an announced £75 million in pothole funding is actually new money being given to East Midlands leaders. The government announced last week that the money is being handed to the region's county combined authority to fix broken roads, but Councillor Sam Smith, who's leader of Nottinghamshire County Council, has asked for clarity from Regional Mayor Claire Ward, saying he believes the money might not be new cash. Ms Ward says she's still looking into the details, but insists it's new government spending. Now, have we all got that holly jolly Christmas spirit now? Well, it's just one more day until Christmas Eve. It's a time where potentially you should have already bought a few Christmas presents by now, and a time to enjoy some sweet treats and Christmas stall food before you gear up for a big old roast dinner with all the trimmings in 2 days' time. Well, for the last 6 weeks or so, Nottingham's Christmas market has been in the heart of the city centre, and traders there have nearly finished up after yet another successful year. So, to reflect on how the annual attraction has got on this winter, Jordan Guerrero went down there to chat to some traders.
As we near Christmas Day, shoppers here at Nottingham's Winter Wonderland are cramming in their last-minute festive shopping for presents and food. There are more than 70 different traders here from across the country preparing to sell the last of their goods as the annual event edges closer to ending. Some have been setting up shop here in Nottingham for more than a decade, but for others it's a relatively new location to sell festive wares. That includes Martin Lamb, who sells authentic chocolate and coffee and set up his family-run business 16 years ago. It's his second year in Nottingham and said this year he's made the same amount of money as last winter despite being here for less time.
Business has been pretty brisk really. We took good money, probably similar money to what we took last year with 1 week less. But our business has been growing anyway, and year on year we're probably beating year on year sales anyway. It's a great setup by Mellors again. There's plenty to do. They've improved on last year. I don't really see much difference in footfall this year from last year.
The Winter Wonderland has been in Old Market Square since November the 14th and officially ends on New Year's Eve. Dairy lover Debbie Eade is another of the stallholders who's been here on behalf of Midlands cheese company Lincolnshire Poacher, and has made the drive westwards for more than a decade. Debbie says cheese is on top of the list for many shoppers at Christmas time, and this year has been a very successful one.
Well, it is great because not only are we selling our cheese and some other lovely British cheeses, it's a great promotion for us as a Lincolnshire poacher. People love cheese and this is such great quality. I'm feeling very Christmassy, because we have all the Christmas music playing all day, which is great.
Just next door is the Cherry Tree Store, a Somerset-based business that's been making the 3.5-hour drive for more than a decade too. They sell a range of chutneys to accompany the cheese that you might have bought. Their events manager Kevin Ball says he feels that business this year hasn't been as good as before.
I just feel this year it's been slightly down from previous years, but I don't know, due to maybe the cost of living. But business has still been good and it's been a real good Christmas feel.
The events organiser, the Mellors Group, first set up the annual Christmas market back in 1982. Marketing manager says the new additions to it year on year are going down a treat among shoppers, with this year's event a success.
We've had a great year. It's been really positive to see the amount of people that have been coming through the doors. The new attractions have gone down really well. You know, we've got our children's ice skating rink this year, which has seen real positive customer feedback on that one.
As Christmas and New Year edge closer, so too does another year of Winter Wonderland for traders here in Nottingham. Jordan Guerrero for Notts TV.
Thank you, Jordan. Time for your sport now, and we are starting off with Nottingham Forest, who continue their fine form in the Premier League with a strong 2-0 win away at Brentford. The Bees hadn't lost at home in the league until they faced Nuno Espirito Santo's side and fell to defeat thanks to goals from Ola Aina and Anthony Alenga either side of half-time. The victory means the Reds go into Christmas in the top 4, 3 points clear of Bournemouth and Villa. And speaking after the win, head coach Nuno said his side are becoming a tough team to beat.
The spell in the second half that we kicked the ball and the ball kept coming to us was 10 minutes of really Brentford pushing very hard, and this shows a lot of us in terms of character, in terms of unity, resilience, to understand that your opponent is gonna react, and if you ignore that, you get yourself in trouble. But overall, very proud, because the boys really work very hard today. I think I don't know the metrics, but just by seeing them and how they finish the game, throwing themselves in the ground, shows that this is what it's all about. It's the hard work, is the commitment, is the tasks, the rules of the team. Improve and go for the next one.
And we're sticking with Forest, and the club have also appointed a new chief executive. Lina Saluku will take charge of strategy at the club from the 5th of January. Saluku is the former CEO of AS Roma and has a strong legal background, and the club say she will help to drive their long-term vision for success in the Premier League and European competitions. Into League One now, and it was also a winning weekend for Mansfield Town, who got their festive fixtures going with a 1-0 victory over Rotherham. A composed first-half goal by forward Deji Oshileja provided a decisive win for the Stags as they held on for their first league win in 8 matches. It lifted them up to a place into 10th, 3 points off the playoff spots, and starts them off well into their first of 5 matches over Christmas and New Year. Speaking after the match, manager Nigel Clough said his side played well, even in some very windy conditions.
2 weeks ago we faced Huddersfield in very similar conditions and not quite as severe today, but you saw, goalkeepers' kicks going out of play and coming back on them almost. It makes it very difficult for the players. Flinty was saying sitting in the dugout it's not too bad, and then when you actually get on the pitch there you realise how bad it is, but all considering all that, I thought it was a good enough performance. I thought we played well in spells, start of the game, and then at the start of the second half I thought 15-20 minutes we were very good indeed, pressing for that second goal. We gave a couple of daft ones away, but I thought generally we defended them very well indeed, and for the second game running looked after Christie. He's barely had a shot.
And Notts County also earned their first league win since October, when they comfortably saw off the visiting Bradford City at Meadow Lane. The victory came through a David McGoldrick goal, sandwiched between a brace by forward Alassana Jatta, with all 3 goals coming in the four first half minutes. The win lifts the Pies back into the playoff places heading into Christmas, and speaking after the game, head coach Stuart Maynard said his team were back to their best.
Huge credit to the lads to come out and play at that intensity that we've just played at. Like I said in my presser earlier in the week, We knew as a group that last weekend wasn't good enough, but we know what we've got in the group, and we know that we've got that in us, and I think that's the level that we've performed at. I don't think sometimes we've quite got the rewards of the goals that we've scored today, but I thought the lads from minute 1 all the way to the 94th minute were outstanding. And that's the whole squad, the subs that come on. And it's even the lads that didn't get on the pitch, because the intensity in training this week was upped. And that's what we need. They're all driving the standards off of each other, and that's what it takes. So sometimes even when you don't get on the pitch, you play a key part, because when you're training in the week, you're driving the standards of the lads that are going to go out there on a Saturday. And I think that's what we've had this week, and it's been huge.
Into ice hockey now, and the Nottingham Panthers continued their winning form in the Elite League by seeing off the Guildford Flames 6-4 at the Motorpoint Arena. But it wasn't all joy for the Panthers, because they also lost by the same scoreline in Cardiff yesterday in the Challenge Cup. And that one means they will face Glasgow Clan in a playoff game to reach the Challenge Cup semis. But after the Guildford win, head coach Danny Stewart said it was a gutsy performance by his players to maintain their strong Elite League form.
It was a good game of hockey. I thought both teams came to play. It was fast paced. You know, we know they're such a good skating team and dangerous all over the ice. And you know, first period, I think they probably had the better of the play there in the first half. I think we kind of came into the game, especially after that tying goal. But I thought in the second we played really good, and to come out of that second period down, I thought was a little bit unlucky on our guys' part. I thought we had a lot of chances that, you know, unfortunately we just didn't capitalize on, and then to go down 4-2 and give that one up, I think again against the run of play there. But you know, credit to our guys, they just kept coming. We had a lot of opportunities, and then when we got that third one, you know, a couple big PP goals there, and sealed it with the empty netter. So you know, a gutsy win by our guys.
And we'll have all 10 goals from the win over Guildford right here on the channel on Christmas Day. Yeah, that's right, you heard me. If you're looking for something to watch after you've tucked into your turkey dinner, that'll air on the channel at 9 p.m. But so if you missed that, it's also repeated on Boxing Day morning at 11:30 too. Now, lastly, in rugby, Nottingham fell to defeat in the league when they lost on the road against Hartpury. Ryan Olawofela scored the only try for the Archers in a disappointing away day to Gloucestershire. The scoreline finished 21 points to 7, with Hartpury's Harry Blezaget scoring 3 penalties and converting one of the hosts' tries, which was scored by Smith and Austin. The loss drops Nottingham down into 5th ahead of their next game, which is at home to second place Coventry on Saturday afternoon. Time for a look at your Christmas Eve picture of the day now, and with just 2 more sleeps until he comes to town. There he is. Thank you very much to Nicky Ryan for taking this very lovely festive picture. Let's take a look at your weather for the next few days then. It should stay nice and dry over the festive period. We might see some mist coming through though tonight, so be careful if you're out and about on the roads. Then, the important things, looking ahead to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day itself. I've got to be honest, the weather is pretty much the same. Cloudy but dry with fairly mild temperatures all around the low teens. That mist clearing up too, so hopefully Father Christmas will get a nice clear night to deliver all of your presents. Right, so let's take another short break, but don't go anywhere, because we're going to be chatting to a vital city organisation about their festive fundraising campaign and taking a look what's happening across our fine county with a Christmassy What's On guide. That is all on the way next. Hello and welcome back to Monday's show with me, Emma Calder. I hope you're well today. Here's what's happening in Notts first. And Nottingham train passengers hoping to travel to London this week have been reminded about disruption on the line into St Pancras. Rail operator East Midlands Railway is conducting work between Bedford and the capital so its more modern trains can access the Midland Main Line. The work started this past Saturday and will run until next Sunday, December the 29th. And unfortunately, that means there's no services running beyond Bedford. Passengers wanting to access London will need to use replacement bus services from there to get into central London. Next, and a new McDonald's has been approved on a Notts retail park despite concerns about traffic. The fast food outlet will be built on the Giltbrook Retail Park near IKEA after Broxtowe Borough Council approved plans for the new restaurant. It's on the units on IKEA Way in Eastwood. It'll sit next to the existing Nando's and Pizza Express units and will require a car park extension to facilitate the new McDonald's unit. The council's decision came despite residents submitting concerns about bad traffic already causing problems at the retail park. Ho, ho, ho! Here's where you can go tonight with our What's On Guide. I did not write that, but it is a festive one. So let's get to it on your Christmas Eve. Wow, it's all gone downhill, hasn't it? First up, step into Christmas at the Royal Concert Hall. Now this does sound good. It's a feel-good Christmas concert. It's got all the classics from the festive season to get you in the mood. It starts at 7:30. Doors open an hour before. Or of course you could head to one of the many pantos in our city and county too. There are still some tickets left for Jack and the Beanstalk at the Playhouse. Got great reviews, that one. Or of course you could head to Neverland at the Theatre Royal. At Mansfield Palace Theatre, they are rubbing a magic lamp. Oh yes they are, and that panto has CBBC's Raven star James Mackenzie as your baddie, ready for all those boos or hisses. Or of course, whatever you're up to, there are lots of Christmas excitement at the markets with loads more on offer. But whatever you do, have a great Christmas Eve. Next on the show, as the temperatures drop, the work of charities helping people on the streets becomes much more important, and that includes the work of the Jericho Road Project, which has been helping sex workers in Nottingham for 25 years. Using a drop-in centre and an outreach van, they provide hot food and drink, as well as hot showers and baths, plus of course support to women affected by the sex industry. But the organisation say the van they use 3 times a week for outreach is coming to the end of its life and in need of an upgrade. And joining me now to tell us more about the work they do and their winter fundraising campaign is Ella Wood, Project Manager at the Jericho Road Project. Ella, thank you so much for joining. So tell us a little bit more about Jericho Road.
Yeah, firstly, Deputy. Don't want to go over Jade's head. So we have been around for 25 years next year, and we're a small little charity based in the heart of the red light district, working with women who are affected or at risk of becoming affected of sex work in Nottingham.
So what is it that you do for these women?
So much, and in fact we're a team of 6 and not all of us are full-time, so it's incredible and we're so lucky for all our volunteers. But we have our outreach teams that go out into the red light district while women are working so we can meet them where they're at. We also have our drop-in at base. We're really happy to meet with women in community and see how they're getting on in their own homes or wherever they're at. And we also do a lot of prison work, so supporting our service users while they're in prison and while they're being released back into community.
So what kind of numbers are we talking about? Because for a lot of people this will be, something in Nottinghamshire that they just don't see. But what kind of numbers are we looking at?
Yeah, so a rough estimate reckon we've probably supported over 650 women across 25 years. This year, probably somewhere between 100 and 150 alone.
Wow.
And unfortunately we don't have exact numbers because so many of the women we're working with don't want to give their full details, and we can totally respect that. So those are the ones who we're doing more intensive support with and need those extra details.
And of course one of the things we were just talking about is this lovely van here that goes out 3 times a week. What does the van do? What's in the van?
Yes, so this is our wonderful van, and it allows us to do so much. So we actually have teams of 3 that go out into the red light district. Really lucky to be supported by lots of wonderful volunteers. It's the only way we can make it happen. What you can't see is in the back of our van we've got a lovely little table and seats so you can come in and have a conversation. We've always got hot drinks, hot chocolates, a crew of amazing flapjack bakers, and we're famous for our flapjacks now. Warm clothes, hats, scarves, gloves, and it could really just be a break in the evening. The red light district isn't the safest place in the world, believe it or not, and so it gives them an opportunity to come off the streets, go somewhere a little bit warmer. We can close the door that can feel separated from their evening, have a chat. We can also refer to other services and if needed get emergency support then and there. And hopefully invite them to come to drop in the next day.
Well, see, this is the thing, and it's so important because, like you say, you're going to them, they don't need to go anywhere or come to you unless they then take that next step.
Yeah.
But the van is coming to the last bit of its life, so you need a new van, don't you?
Yeah, the garage love us. Let's just say that. We've driven thousands of miles in its life, and we are so grateful for what it's done, but also we'd really like an upgrade. We'd like it to be slightly smaller so we can get around the little roads where women are working a little bit easier, and yeah, just be able to provide that service for so many of our service users. Outreach is where we first meet them. And it's where we can start building the trust so we can work with them in the future.
And that is it. I guess there's a trust element of, you know, this van pulls up, Jericho Road Project. If you don't know what that is, you know, it's a scary thing, I would imagine, for these ladies to go in and realise that this is a trustworthy thing to do, that the people, you know, that are volunteering are there to help them.
Yeah.
What difference will it make to have this new van?
Far more practical. It'll be so much easier to get around, and also it'll be more inviting. It's probably a good thing you can't see the back. We do the best we can. We've got our fairy lights and our bunting up, but having somewhere that's wonderful and inviting and doesn't feel like a van would be ideal. And yeah, like you said, it is about building trust, and we're so lucky that so many of our service users will be bringing the new women along. We like, come, no, they're fine, they're good, come on, get on.
Yeah.
And so we've got a really wonderful relationship with so many of our service users who are working in the red light district still, and we want to carry on being able to serve them.
Ella, where can we find out more information? Because if there's people watching going, do you know what, they seem like they're doing incredible things, where can we find out more? And maybe support the charity as well.
Check out our website. We've got a giving page, but we also have a page on all the different areas we do, and you'll find out loads more details and see the rest of the team online.
Amazing. Well, thank you for the amazing work you do,
thank
and thank you for coming in today as well.
Thank you for having us.
Right, let's have another look at one of your top stories of the day. And earlier on, we took your sports roundup, but we are now focusing on Nottingham Forest for something slightly more festive. And that's because the club opened up the City Ground to fans today as part of a Christmas cake and coffee event. And that gave fans of all ages the chance to get merry with mince pies and meet club legends like Gary Birtles and John McGovern. And that was all to say thank you to fans for yet another strong year on the pitch. Plus, of course, a chance to support any fans who might be facing loneliness or isolation at Christmas. And just as a warning, Jack Sims' report today does contain some flash photography.
From making passes to passing out mince pies, the City Ground became the home of festive cheer as Nottingham Forest celebrated Christmas in the community. The club opened their doors to fans for some festive food, drinks and famous friendly faces. It was the European suite where fans of all ages came in, offering warm drinks and warmer smiles, and all to tackle loneliness at Christmas. For two-time European Cup winner Gary Birtles, isolation and loneliness at Christmas are feelings he's familiar with after the loss of his wife in 2021. Now he's giving back to the club and the community who helped him through it.
Football gave me that mental strength to help me through that period, but it was absolutely awful, you know, seeing the person you love just passing away in front of you, and then having to cope afterwards. And I realise what people are going through in that situation, or any situation of loneliness. It's horrible. It can affect people in totally different ways, and to be part of this and be part of Nottingham Forest, to be involved with these sort of problems it's an honour, really. You know, it's an honour and a privilege.
The event was just one of many that have been held by the club as a part of their Home for Christmas charity campaign. And for lifelong fans, such as Susan Clinch, the chance to meet some of her favourite former players has been a dream come true.
Absolutely amazing. I'm loving every minute. I am a massive fan from the age of 10 years old when I first saw a cup match in black and white. I think it's a really good idea, I really do. Because I live on my own now. I lost my husband 10 years ago, and I just love Nottingham Forest, and I can't believe where they've got to now. I never thought this would happen, never.
For others, it's been a great opportunity for younger fans to come and see some of the faces that have helped pave the club's legacy.
I think it's brilliant. It's bringing the community together. I brought a lot of players to turn up, old players. I think it's really good and inspirational for this young lad here, his grandson, because he's such a big fan.
I've already met some old players and managers, and I think it's going to be a really fun time.
Although Forest will be hoping to lift themselves into Europe next season, for now, lifting the spirits of fans at Christmas is a win worth every effort. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Thank you, Jack. Right, let's have another look at some more of your news headlines now first. And two drug dealers were woken from their own beds when police raided their homes in Clifton. The raids took place back in June after officers received intelligence about Ryan Selwood and Liam Kennedale. 30-year-old Selwood's home on Ellaby Avenue was found with Class A drugs, a taser, dealer's list and weighing scales, whilst a large amount of cash was found in the Farnborough Road home of 39-year-old Kennedale. In Nottingham Crown Court last week, they were both given jail terms of at least 6 years. Next, and a man who threw a lock knife through the window of a Nottingham venue during an altercation with his partner has been jailed. Daytona Grant hurled the weapon through the window of the Buster Market in Sneinton at about 10 o'clock in the morning of October the 5th last year. CCTV footage showed the 31-year-old of Bath Street in Sneinton having a row with a woman outside the venue moments before the incident. Grant admitted to criminal damage and possessing a knife in public. He was jailed for 6 months in Nottingham Crown Court last week. All right, let's take one final break now. But don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more Notts news and goodness, including taking another look at one of our best Notts Today chats from this year. That's one from back in March when we discussed conspiracy theories. I'm looking forward to that, and it's on the way next. Hello and welcome back to Monday's show with me, Emma Calder. Thank you for joining us. Here's what's happening on Notts Today first. And water company Severn Trent has been given the green light for a £720 million investment project. The spending is aimed at improving services for customers, boosting water supplies, enhancing river health and creating about 7,000 jobs across the region. It comes as part of a £15 billion project by the water provider nationally, and Severn Trent says some spending in Notts includes a £49 million project to install 71 miles of new water pipes across the county. Next, and police cadets have helped to wrap almost 2,000 Christmas gifts for children in the city. The volunteer cadet groups from Bulwell, Bestwood, Hyson Green, Mansfield and the Force headquarters have spent sessions during December wrapping and preparing packages for the charity Bags of Blessings. That organisation donates gift boxes to children who might not get presents over Christmas. The Force said the cadets showed teamwork, enthusiasm and commitment to preventing young people from going without. Right, in a minute, we're going to be taking another look at a great chat from earlier on this year. But before then, it's time to revisit something very festive, still very much relevant, and that is the Panto. Oh, yes, it is. Earlier on this month, our reporter Daisy Jameson went behind the curtain at Peter Pan, this year's performance at the Theatre Royal, which is running until January the 12th. And here is some of the magic that she saw.
Panto, a tradition of laughter, extravagance and a dash of magic. This year the Theatre Royal is off to Neverland with their production of Peter Pan, starring Gok Wan, Paul Chuckle and Steve Hewlett. But behind the glitz and glamour of the stage, there's a world of chaos and creativity that makes the show come to life, and we've been granted exclusive access to hear how the stars are feeling behind the curtain.
I'm from Nottingham, so being back here on this side of things, after having seen so many shows in the audience, and it's just so lovely. Everyone's great.
I've never been here before, never met any of these people before, so creating a family in a new place away from home is just something lovely to know that you can do and lovely to have.
But a show is only as good as the crew behind it, and company manager Martin Hutchinson says the effort of putting a panto together helps get the cast and crew into ship shape.
We spend so much time working intensely together and putting on this beautiful thing for for an audience that actually it's really nice to celebrate the fact that we actually enjoy spending time with each other. You've seen it today. Everyone's warming up together. It is a real family feel on this show, and I'm so privileged that I get to manage that, because actually it's a beautiful thing. Panto season is this crazy thing. It's this whirlwind 6 weeks where we do the equivalent of a West End show, and we pull everyone together, and then in 6 weeks' time we all disappear and we never see each other again, and it's a really crazy mental thing. But for Christmas and New Year we're each other's families.
With thousands of people expected to be packing out the Theatre Royal, they want to put on a show that's accessible to all, with British Sign Language interpreters like Donna Ruane ready to help translate the magic.
For Panto it's so lovely because it's interactive, so it really encourages that.
And we just see a lot of deaf community members coming along, having fun, being able to share it with both deaf and hearing members of their family and their friends. And it's just a great social kind of get together for them.
Peter Pan is well underway and the show will continue up until the 12th of January, proving that this literary classic will never grow old. Daisy Jameson for Notts TV.
So what were we supposed to say?
They said something to Notts TV.
Right.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah, well, he said Merry Christmas, Notts TV.
Merry Christmas!
Happy New Year!
Woo!
You're so good at this.
Thank you, I'm trained.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you very much to Daisy for that one. And just a little note, I'll be speaking to Gok hopefully on the show in January. Cannot wait for that. And this month we have been looking back at some of the best chats on the show this year. And it's time to head back to March when we discussed conspiracy theories with a lecturer at Nottingham Trent University who's pieced together some research showing that some people are more susceptible to believing them than others. And it's all because of the way we think. Daryl Cookson published an article for The Conversation explaining the theory that if you're an intuitive thinker, you are more likely to buy into theories than those who are analytical thinkers. Here's Daryl explaining her research to us back in March. Honestly, this is so interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. What is it about a conspiracy theory that we all kind of delve into?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Totally welcome.
And honestly, there's so many reasons people might be attracted to conspiracy theories. So just to begin with, because there's been so many going around at the moment, people find them entertaining. So I think when people find them more entertaining, they might be more likely to read them and be more interested in them. Also, there's so much exposure to them that can make them more, it can make you more susceptible to them if you're exposed to them more and more. You might think, if I'm seeing it all the time, might be more likely to be true, or maybe other people believe in it, so I might be more likely to believe in it. Lots of reasons why we can sort of be really attracted to these conspiracy theories.
But there's a psychology behind conspiracy theories as well, isn't it? Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So for years now, I've been doing research into the psychology of conspiracy theories, or these different reasons why people might believe them, whereas other people might not be as interested in them. So it can be linked to different personality factors. Maybe if we have more of a feeling that we want to be unique, or we look for different answers, then we might be more likely to endorse conspiracy theories. It can be related to our thinking styles, like you said before. So the way that we actually think might make us more susceptible to conspiracy theories compared to other people as well. So there is some real psychological explanations as to why we might be attracted to them.
And is it a case of, because there's so much going on, not least of all with the Princess of Wales, but there's so much going on where you query stories that are in the news at the moment. Is being sceptical about official accounts of events a good thing to do? Or should we just believe?
Oh, I think it's definitely healthy to have a measure of skepticism, definitely. And that's all part of analytical thinking. I think when you see information, really spending some time to critically think about information is really important. So skepticism definitely falls into that. I think sometimes when it can get dangerous is you tend to find that if people endorse one conspiracy theory, they're so much more likely then to endorse another. I think maybe if we sort of believe that one conspiracy theory has the potential for being true, it kind of lowers the threshold then when we're faced with other conspiracy theories. And then once you start believing in one, you might get exposed to more and more. So I think that's when you can start to maybe lose that healthy skepticism and you become quite conspiratorial.
Oh, I love that word. That's a great word. And because there's so many, literally there's top 10 conspiracy theories online. Aliens building the Egyptian pyramids, the moon landing, faked, COVID-19. Even that is a conspiracy theory in itself. But we seem to love them. But I think you're right. Just this week, there must be so many people like me who are just seeing stuff coming at you all the time about what's going on with the royal family that you can't help but go, oh, and then you kind of come back at it. Are there any risks of conspiracy theories, any negative aspects to conspiracy theories?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that I'm so interested in researching them, because I think it's really important, because as you were saying, we can see them all the time, and then we might think other people believe in them, we might be more likely to believe in them, and they give us an answer as well. I think sometimes when things are a bit uncertain, we like them because they give us an answer, but more and more research is showing that they can actually have potentially really dangerous consequences. So that's one of the reasons that I like to do this research and maybe like uncover different reasons why we might be susceptible to them, but also what the consequences of that can be, because you might not think it, but it really can affect your behaviour in loads of different ways: health behaviour, health decision making, political behaviour. So I think it is really important to kind of understand why people might be more susceptible to them.
And is everyone susceptible to them?
Oh, there's so many reasons people might believe in conspiracy theories. I wouldn't say that anyone is immune. That's one of the things that got me thinking about thinking styles and kind of pulling that research together, is because so many people asked me when I say that I research conspiracy theories, and that's what I do, is it to do with like intelligence?
Yeah.
So I think people kind of thought that maybe if you're of a high intelligence, then you're immune to them. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's definitely more to do with your thinking style and how you kind of approach and process information rather than just intelligence alone.
This is so interesting. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Really enjoyed that chat. Hope you did as well. Well, that is some of what's happened in Notts over the year, but let's take a look forward to something that's happening next year, and that is when Matilda the Musical arrives at the Arts Theatre in May. The stage adaptation of the Roald Dahl classic was co-created by Tim Minchin and Dennis Kelly. They both gave an interview to journalist Rebecca Jones as part of the latest Art Spot, which is showing periodically on the channel, including tomorrow night at 7:30. And here is some of that interview.
Looking back, could you have envisaged it would be the huge success that it's gone on to be?
Dennis, did you
Oh
think,
yeah, we
did you
knew.
think-
We definitely.
Dennis
we
thought
had
10
no
mil,
idea.
didn't you? I reckon 10 mil.
If I can hit 5 mil, I'll be happy. No. I mean, we didn't know for a minute. Like, you know, we were doing a Christmas show at the RSC. You know what I mean? And so I don't think we really had a view of it being much more than. I think you and Matthew probably had a wiser thought about, you know, this could have a West End life, but because
Matthew Walsh is
the director, but
yeah.
because I mean I was writing. My day job is to write grimy little plays that upset people. You know what I mean? And like, so
You do
me
it so beautifully.
I was upset so many people. Not quite 12 million, but you know, a fair amount.
But yeah, it was just one of the projects you were working on.
But also, I didn't have.
Right, let's take another look at our picture of the day now. Thank you very much to Nikki Ryan for this one. And Santa has been spotted in Papelwick, the blow-up version anyway. Let's take a look at your weather for the next few days then. It should stay nice and dry over the festive period, which is nice. We might see some mist tonight though, so be careful if you are out and about on the roads. Looking ahead to the important days, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day itself. I've got to say the weather is much the same. It's going to be cloudy but dry with fairly mild temperatures around the low teens. That mist is clearing up, so I'm pleased to say Father Christmas will get a nice clear night to deliver all of your presents. And that's it for today. Thank you as always to our brilliant guest. Mark Shardlow is here tomorrow for a Christmas Eve edition of Notts Today. But until then, from everyone on the team and me, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.